every minute matters in an emergency, but how do you know when you should go to an ER instead of maybe an urgent care? Here to break this down is Dr. Jonathan DeGroat, a board-certified emergency medicine physician for Advent Health. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, and I know you guys have dealt with so much the past couple years with COVID, and it must be difficult because people don't know whether or not they should go to the hospital, so you must be get more inundated with patients because of the confusion.
It's certainly been busier over the last couple of years, and what seems like should be a simple decision and when to go to the emergency department gets infinitely more difficult when you're not feeling well, when you're hurt. And so I think it is a good topic to talk about. I frequently get this question in my personal life. Family, friends will often reach out to me asking if they should go to the emergency department, if they should bring their kids to the emergency department. And so I think it is a good topic to review.
Yeah, and so let's break it down. Sure. I mean, when should you go to your primary care? When should you go to urgent care, and then when is an emergency?
Yeah, and I think we'll start with the emergency. I think it's the easiest to sort of define and then work our way down. The principles are the same. The pandemic seems to have created some confusion or consternation around when to present to the ER, but the principles are the same before as they are now. And really that is chest pain, shortness of breath, any stroke-like symptoms like headache, dizziness, arm weakness, numbness, any of those should immediately prompt an ER visit, as well as anything sort of severely unexpected, severe unexpected abdominal pain, maybe severe unexpected jaw or shoulder pain. Unfortunately, we continue to see delays in particularly strokes and heart attacks to the ER, which can delay treatment. Treatment options are more available the earlier you present. And so, those symptoms should certainly prompt an immediate evaluation in the ER. And we may talk about this, but along the similar lines when you call 911. And so if we consider now urgent care is an excellent resource, and obviously by definition, though, they're going to have a little bit more limited resources. And so you're thinking more along the lines of sinus congestion, or maybe a low-grade fever without additional symptoms, maybe a minor orthopedic injury like an ankle sprain or a shoulder injury. Those are all good things that can be treated in an urgent care. The key is when you start to combine concerning symptoms. I often say, so fever and abdominal pain, fever and joint pain. Those things should really, be taken a little more seriously, and that's probably the differentiator between when to show up to an emergency department.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's also significant cost difference.
There is, and we're seeing more and more of this as transparency grows, which is a good thing. It's been a little difficult in the past to get an idea of how much these costs are, but as we move into a future where there's more transparent billing, these are certainly going to be topics, and there is a difference. Given the ER is staffed 24/7, requires certain resources versus an urgent care, there is a cost difference there, and I really want to make sure patients are utilizing the right resources because it can have an impact on their life down the road.
Yeah, something though that I would love you to talk about a little bit more in detail is that you said that a lot of people are getting there too late with stroke symptoms and heart attack symptoms. So what are some of the things that they should look for to get to an emergency room quicker or call 911?
Exactly, yeah. So the way I look at 911 calls are twofold. One is it safe to get to the emergency department? And two, is it potentially a time-dependent issue? And so when we talk about strokes and heart attack, they're both time-dependent. You want to get there safely, and if you're having severe chest pain, shortness of breath, weakness, it is probably not safe for you to drive, and it may not be safe for someone else to drive because they may be distracted by your symptoms. It is absolutely appropriate to call 911 at that point. Additionally, they can start treatments earlier. So the EMS can often start certain treatments, can transmit EKGs to the emergency department where we can then review it and have maybe cardiology or neurology already ready when you arrive. And so it is really important in those scenarios, particularly with typical kind of chest pain, short of breath, maybe jaw pain or sudden nausea in females in particular, and then with strokes, headache, weakness, severe sudden dizziness, all of those things should be taken seriously, and it is absolutely appropriate to call 911 to get that process started.
And with the pandemic and with different strains of COVID and we're having these things come up again and again where people are getting symptoms, When is it important that you just stay home?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's one I get a lot. It's one I get in the ED a lot from patients after we diagnose them with COVID. And I think this again comes back to the sort of process, which I like to apply. So, you come in, you've got COVID, or maybe you're diagnosed at home with COVID or over telehealth or with your primary care. And if you're experiencing sort of sinus congestion or mild or low-grade fever, it's appropriate at that point and probably expected, or you should, stay at home with those symptoms. When you start to develop high fever and chest pain, fever and shortness of breath, fever and headache, that's when you should go to the emergency department. And staying home is really important. It's important for two reasons. It's important for others, and it's important for yourself, right? By staying in, you prevent spreading it to your friends, your family, to immunocompromised people. But also, a mistake I often see are patients who want to get back a little too quickly. A huge part of recovering from anything, including COVID, is rest and taking care of yourself. And so by staying home, you hydrate, you get rest, your body recovers. Whereas if you get out too early, not only are you potentially exposing others, but you may be actually slowing down your ability to heal and recover from the process. So it is a really important part of healing, is that staying home, taking that rest that you need. So
great information. Absolutely. A lot of stuff that we really needed reminders for. And we're going to go here and talk about where we can get in touch with you and find out more information. And that is the erexperts.com. Thanks so much for
Thank you so much
today.
for having me. It's very good to be here.